Hello everyone, I am Josefa, and in this video we are going to discuss how we can create CI/CD pipeline using AWS CodePipeline Service. And in the first part of the video, we are going to create a pipeline for a backend application, and in the next part of the video, we are going to create a pipeline for front-end application. So this is just to showcase you what is basically AWS Code Pipeline. It helps us automate the whole release pipeline. So it basically fetch the code from the source you provide. It can be GitHub, it can be Bitbucket, it can be from an S3 bucket, and then it will build that particular code. Then it will run test cases on that code, and then it will deploy it on staging environment or on production environment. So what are the use cases and stuff? You can also enable notification so your pipeline is deployed successfully or there is an error in deployment, and it is a very useful service and very easy to set up. So let's first set up a pipeline for a backend application. So what we have to do is we have to search the AWS code pipeline. So I will click on it. So it will showcase all the pipelines you have already created. So in this video, what we have to do is we have to create a new pipeline. I will click on create new pipeline, and then I will provide the name of the pipeline. So in this case, it is YouTube demo backend, and it will automatically create a new role for this particular pipeline. If you want to select an existing role, you can click this option and select that particular role, but I will leave it as it is and click on next. So what is the source from where we are going to fetch the code? So it is, in my case, GitHub. And then what you can do is you have to connect with GitHub. I have already connected with GitHub. In your case, you have to click on connect to GitHub. It will open up a GitHub pop-up. I have to put in my username, password, and the GitHub connection will be created. So in my case, I have already created a connection, so I won't go there. So I will select the already created connection. So it will showcase me all the repositories that I have in the GitHub. So I will select backend repository because this is a demo for backend uh, pipeline. In the next phase, I will showcase how we can do the front end. So now it is telling me to select a branch. So I will select the master branch. So it is showing me that start the pipeline on source code changes. It is checked by default. So it is good. Like whenever we have new changes in master, it will again rerun the whole pipeline and will deploy that code. So this is good. So we will click on next, and it is asking me how you want to build the code. So in my case, like the code is written in Node.js Express, so I don't want to build it. I just want to deploy it. So I will skip the build stage. I will go to the next step, and it is asking me where you want to deploy it. You want to deploy it on, it is giving you like a lot of different options: ECS, Amazon Container Service, or Elastic Beanstalk, and different sort of services. So I will select Elastic Beanstalk. What I have to do is I will open a new tab. I will search for Elastic Beanstalk, and then I will create a new application. It is a web server environment, yes. And then I will give it a name, YouTube demo backend. So it is asking, yeah, what is the domain? I can provide the domain as well. If I leave it empty, it will auto generate it. You can provide the description. Oh, it will be a Node.js project. So I have selected Node.js. I can select the Node.js version and stuff like that. So yeah, I've selected that. So I can upload my code here or click on that, but I won't go in there because obviously the code that will be deployed will be provided from AWS Code Pipeline. So I will create sample application and click on create environment. So it is setting up the whole environment for you. So it will take like a few minutes to set up the whole environment, and then the whole environment will be set up. So what I can do is, in the meanwhile, I can show, I will go there. So I will select this elastic beanstalk from the drop down. So it is telling me, so what is the application? So it is YouTube demo backend. What is the environment name? It is this. I will meanwhile check, like, either it is up or not. I think, yeah, it is up. It is working now. It is starting. The environment is created. It is starting. This just take like 1 minute or 2 minutes. Won't take much more than that. So I will click on next. In the meantime, it is telling me all the steps that you have added in the whole AWS code pipeline. I have named this pipeline as YouTube demo backend. I have created a new role for it. I have created a stage to fetch the code from GitHub. This is the GitHub repository. This is the branch. I have skipped the build stage, and then I have provided a deploy action provider, that is Elastic Beanstalk in my case. What is the application name and environment name? So I'm not clicking on the next button, create pipeline, because this is not started. Yeah, now I think it is started. So I can start this. It is basically, I think, right now starting. So don't worry, I can click on create pipeline. It will create the whole pipeline, and you can see the whole pipeline visually as well. So it will take like a few seconds here as well. Yeah, so the pipeline is created. It is right now fetching the code from GitHub, and it is showing you it is in progress. It is fetching all the latest changes, and then when the changes are fetched, it will then send the changes to this deploy provider, and it will deploy that particular code. So it is failed because right now the reason it is failed is because this environment is not properly up. So we can wait for a few seconds and check. Yeah, now it is, the health is okay. That means that the application is up and running. You can go to that link and see, like, this is the default application that AWS create, because I have selected a sample project when I was setting up Elastic Beanstalk. So now I go here and click on release changes to again rerun the whole pipeline. So this is the button. If you want to rerun the pipeline forcefully, you can click on that. Otherwise, if you make any changes into the master branch, it will run the whole pipeline again as well automatically. So now you can see, like, the code is fetched successfully and it is building the whole code. You can go into history and check the history of the whole pipeline as well, how many times the pipeline run, how many times it fails, and stuff like that. So it will take, like, I think 4 to 5 minutes to deploy this code. So I will pause the video and will start it again when it is deployed. So now our pipeline is deployed. You can see it is deployed successfully. So I can go back to the link and refresh it, and you can see this is the basically the base route. It is telling me the application is deployed now. So this is how you can basically set up a backend application CI/CD pipeline. It is very simple. You can set it up in like 10 minutes. So I can show you some other pipelines as well that I have created for backend projects. If I go to this, and you can see, like, I have 2 steps, and if I go to history, you can see the whole history. Whenever we have a new code change, we have merged a pull request. It is telling me it has the pipeline has taken 1 minute and 12 seconds to complete the whole execution, and when it is completed, and how many times you've run it, and what is the changes. I can click on that. I will go to uh, the particular GitHub PR. When we have merged this PR, then this code is deployed and stuff like that. So yeah, like, this is about the backend pipeline. Now we will go towards creating a front end pipeline. So what we have to do is we have to again click on create pipeline. I will name it YouTube demo front end and leave it as it is, and then click on next. Click on source provider. I will select GitHub, and then you have to connect GitHub. I have told in the previous step as well, you can click on connect GitHub and give this a connection name, and then click on connect GitHub, and then it will open a GitHub pop-up, and then you have to add your username and password. I have this already done, so I will select my GitHub account, and then I will select the project. This is the front end project built in React, and I have selected this. Then I have to select the branch. I will select the main branch, and it is asking me like whenever we have the changes in master in the main branch, should we run the pipeline automatically? So I will keep it checked. If you want to if you don't want that, you can uncheck it, and you can click on release change button and run it yourself, but I will suggest you to keep it checked, so whenever you have the new changes, the changes are deployed automatically. So I will click on next. So in this case, obviously it is a React code, so I need to build it. If it is a Angular code, I also need to build it. So I will select AWS CodePipeline Service. So I have to do is I have to select the project name. So now I am in the build stage. I have selected AWS Code Build. So what I have to do is I have to create a new project for Code Build as well. So what I can do is I can click on create project. It will create a pop-up, open a pop-up. So I can give the name for it, YouTube front end build. I will select I will keep this as managed image. I will select Linux 2. What is the runtime? It is standard, and I will select standard 4.0. And because I am selecting everything latest, because the node project is the front end project is in the latest React version, so it is good. So so now we are in the build stage. I have selected AWS Code Build for the building step. So now we are in the build stage. I have selected AWS Code Build as the build provider. So, but I have to create a build project as well. So I will click on create project and give this a name, YouTube and build. And then I have to specify the environment. I will keep it as managed image. I have to select the environment operating system. I can choose Linux or Ubuntu. I will choose Linux. Then I have to select runtime, and I can select from there as well, or either I can select Ubuntu and select runtime and select image. This doesn't matter, like both works fine. So always select the latest image for yeah, keep it like that. New service role, yeah, we can have this. So use a build spec file. We need to create a build spec file for that. So it is asking me for that, like use a build spec file stored in your base directory of the folder. I will explain you that as well, like how you can create a build spec file. So and then you can keep it as it is and click on continue to code pipeline. It is taking some time. It is creating the whole build project. So I can add environment variable as well in here, but right now I won't. So I can click on next. I have to select the deploy provider. In my case, when the code is built, I have to shift that code, move that code into S3 bucket. So in the next tab, I will open S3, and I will create an S3 bucket for this, where the code will be after the build, where all the files will be pushed. So I will create a bucket. I will name it as YouTube demo, and then I will keep it as is ACL enabled. I will keep it, and then block all public access. I will uncheck that because this is going to be a public website. So I need to uncheck it. Tags and everything else seem fine. I will click on create bucket. The bucket is there, YouTube demo front end, and then I will click on properties and then go to end, and mm, I have to select the static website hosting. I have to enable it, and I have to specify the starting point. It is index.html. So I have added that, and then I have to specify the permissions as well. So let me write the permissions. So what is the permissions for S3? Copy paste that permission in here. So this is the permission. I will also provide that in the description of the video as well. You just need to change this line. Other than that, keep it as it is, and then click on save changes. These are added, and we are good to go. We will go back to the deploy. We will select S3. We will select the YouTube demo front end. I have specified the bucket. I can keep this empty. Extract file before deploy. So I will select this, and then there are some additional configuration. I don't want that. I will click on next. It is showcasing me all the stages that we have created. We have created this source stage in which we are fetching the code from GitHub. This is the code pipeline name and stuff. This is the role, and in this stage we are building the whole code using AWS CodeBuild service. We have selected Ubuntu standard 6.0. We can also select Linux, it doesn't matter. And in the last step I have selected Amazon S3. When the whole code is built, all the build file will be pushed into S3, and we need to extract the files in S3. By default, they are in zip, and I will click on create pipeline, and it will take like few seconds, and it will create a pipeline. And for the front end pipeline, I have to tell you, like, it takes 5 to 6 minutes or sometime 10 minutes to run. So because it has to build the whole project as well, and then it has to deploy it, so it takes some time. So in the meanwhile, what I can do is I can show you the build spec file that we need to add. So let me share my screen. Let me share the code and showcase you that. So now I'm going to show you what is the build spec file, which is mandatory for the front-end projects in the AWS code pipeline. So this build spec file comprise of different stuff. So first we have the version. We can specify the version. So you can have it as 0.1. And then we have various phases. We have the install phase, pre-build phase, build phase, and these are the main phase. So in the install phase, what we are doing is we are like installing the whole Node.js setup. Then we are installing the whole yarn setup. So if I break it down, so first we download the whole Node.js setup using this curl command, and then we run this command to install it. In similarly in the yarn case as well, we first download the whole setup and then run the command to install the yarn. So this is not mandatory yarn. If you can install just Node, you can use npm, and you can also do everything. So I have added yarn just because it is much more fast than npm. So, and these echo commands are just for the purpose of debugging. So if my code fails here while installing yarn, so I get to know like Node is installed successfully. When it show me installing yarn, after that the code has failed. So this echo is just for the testing purpose, in case if something goes other way, so I can get to know what is the last echo. After that we have the error. So this is the phase where we get the error. So after we have the node install and we have the yarn install, we go into the pre-build stage. In the pre-build stage, we have to download the dependencies. We have to do the npm install, or we have to write yarn to install all the dependencies. We can also write npm install here as well, or we can write just yarn. So it is up to you. And then in the build stage, what we have to do is we have to write npm run build to build the whole project. And these are some artifacts specified, like all the files which are built will be pushed towards after this build stage will be pushed into S3 bucket. Now we will go into the whole AWS part, and we will check if the code pipeline is built or not. So now you can see like the code is fetched from the YouTube demo front end for this pipeline that we have just created, and then the code is built, and then the whole code is deployed. So how we get to know if the code is deployed or not? We go towards this our bucket, and we have to get the link here. We will click on it, and we can see the code is deployed, our website is loading, and it is up and running. So whenever we have the new changes, it will run again, and it will again build the project, it will again deploy it. So we can manually, if you want to deploy it again, you can just click on release changes and you can see it. If you want to see the history, you can click on history, and you can see like what are the changes that are being deployed, what is the time taken to for the whole pipeline to execute, because this is the front end code, we have to build it first and then deploy it. So that's why it takes like 7 to 8 minutes. For back end code, it takes like 1 to 2 minutes. It is much faster. So let me show you some other pipelines as well that we have for the front end projects. So if I go to this, just 1 second. So you can see like we have this stage, source stage, in which we fetch the code, and then we have the build stage in which we build the code. Then we have the deploy stage in which we deploy the code, and I have an extra stage here as well. For this, I will create a separate video. So for this is basically to remove the cache, because what I do is after deploying the code to S3 bucket, I link CloudFront with S3 for caching and to make it load faster. So basically, CloudFront doesn't uh, invalidate the cache when we have the new release. So for that, I have added a new stage here. So if I show you, like this is basically going towards like the whole build pipeline is completed now. So, but what we can do is we can add an extra step. Like how we can add the extra step is we can, the whole code pipeline is done. So, but the code is deployed on S3, but we need to make it load faster. What we can do is we can have CloudFront attached with S3. For that, what we have to do is, it is not part of the pipeline. As you can see, I have to search for CloudFront. I have to click on create distribution, and I have to copy this link. I have to go to CloudFront. I have to specify the domain name. So I will type in the domain name, and then it is asking me about the origin and stuff. Leave it as it is. It is asking me about enable origin shield. I will keep it no. uh, Asking me about how you want to cache it. You want to compress objects. I will keep it yes. It will compress it automatically. What are the protocols allowed? HTTP, HTTPS. I will keep it both. Like so if you want to redirect HTTP users to HTTPS, you can click on this button, and all the HTTP users will also be redirected to HTTPS. But I will keep it normal. And what are the methods allowed? So get or head, or you need more methods as well, you can select it according to your needs. And you want to apply some restriction on viewer access, I will keep it as no. So all these settings, default settings, are good for me. Like basic caching are applied by default. If you want to change it to, we can have a more detailed video on CloudFront. And for now, I will leave all the setting as it is, and I will click on create distribution. So the distribution is created. This is basically the link, but it will take some time to deploy. Once it is deployed, we can access this link website from this link. Right now it is in deploying stage. So now if you want to attach the domain with this CloudFront distribution, so what we can do is we have to use a service called Route 53. So using Route 53, we can attach domains with the whole AWS URLs. So if your domain is basically with some other provider, you can click on hosted zone. If you want to buy a domain, you can just click check the domain name here and buy it. But in case you have the domain with some other provider, similarly with my case as well, I have domain on GoDaddy or Namecheap, I will click on hosted zone. I will click on create hosted zone. I will provide my domain name. For instance, the domain name is josefaasif.com. This is not the actual domain. I'm just doing it for a demo purpose. I will click on create hosted name. It will create this hosted record and will provide me these name servers. So what I have to do is I have to go to my name domain provider and go towards my domain and click on update name servers and add these name servers into that. When I add these name servers, so what will happen is all the domain will be linked towards this particular S3 hosted zone. So, and when you add these name server, it will take like 5-6 hours or 24 hours to update the whole name servers. So it will take some time to propagate, but once it is propagated, it will be redirected towards S3. So now your domain is connected towards Route 53. What you have to do is you have to basically connect this CloudFront link with Route 53. So for that, what you have to do is I can show you that as well. As you can see, like the CloudFront URL is also working. It is very fast, like it loads in a split of second. So the CloudFront thing is also working. That is good. So I have to basically create a record for my to attach this CloudFront with Route 53. What I'm doing is I'm basically connecting the CloudFront with this hosted zone record in Route 53. I have to select the CNAME and I have to enter the domain name here. So I can leave this and leave this and click on 1 minute. So it propagates fast and click on create record. So what it will do is it will basically connect Josefa Asif with your CloudFront. So whenever user goes to josefaasif.com, it will be redirected. Obviously, it will connect with CloudFront. So a user will see all the data which is hosted on CloudFront on josefaasif.com. So this is how you can connect domain with CloudFront. And with if you are not using CloudFront, you can specify the S3 bucket details here as well. You can also add SSL to your website as well using SSL service, certificate manager service. But it will be a very long video. So now in this video, I won't cover that. I will create a separate video for that, how to create certificate and attach to Route 53, and it will serve your website on HTTPS. So thank you guys for watching the video.